To school and wanted to go to the park for some reason. You always enjoyed the sunsets, so you'd wait, even though you were not allowed to. You weren't really supposed to leave the dorm rooms after a certain hour, but you went ahead and did it. No one's caught you yet, which just made you want to do it more. After a while of sitting, it got dark, and you started walking back to UA. You got there, and you noticed that you left your keys in your room. Shit, you said, mumbling. You didn't know where to go, because you really knew everyone was probably asleep or did not want to be bothered at this time. So you kind of walked around for a while, and you ended up in the boys' dorms. You knew there was probably 2 or 3 boys that were still up at this ungodly hour. So you kind of just sat there, not knowing what to do. Then you heard someone open the door. You ran as far away as you could, but they started running after you. They eventually caught up to you, and a boy with beautiful multicolored hair grabbed your arm and said, "What are you doing here, your name?" You didn't know what to do. You froze. You really shouldn't be up at this hour, he said with almost no emotion in his voice. It scared you how quiet but sensitive he could be. He was like, you didn't even know how to describe him in words. You just said to him, "Well, I couldn't fall asleep, so I started walking around and I accidentally wandered in here." And you started rambling about how you got lost. He listened to you, but you can tell that he doesn't really care and just wanted to go back to his room. You politely excused yourself, but he said, "Hey, but I wasn't done talking to you. You and Todoroki have known each other for a while, but you guys weren't really close friends. I mean, you've tried, but every time he just shoots you down, so you eventually started not trying. He noticed that. He noticed everything about you. He noticed how you can, the slightest emotion can change. How 1 second your smile could be so bright but dim down a little when you hear a remark. He noticed everything about you. He didn't want to, but he did. So he noticed that you kind of felt that you weren't wanted here. He said, "You want to talk for a little?" You looked at him surprised and said, "I thought I was bothering you." He looked at you and said, "Kind of." You looked at him shocked and said, "Then I'm just gonna go," and walked away. And a pouty thing. He selfishly thought that it was cute and that he was kind of happy that he caused you to think that way. But he pushed away those thoughts and wanted to chase after you, but he knew that you didn't want to see him right now. Next day, he tried to talk to you, but you just ignored him. You didn't want to talk to him. He made you mad last night. So he accepted the fact that you didn't want to talk to him. After school, he said, "Your name? We should probably talk." And you shot him down and said, "I'm sorry, I'm going somewhere with my friends." That was a lie. You were going to go back to the park like you always did every single day at the exact same time. He knew about the park, but he never really had an interest in it, so he never went with you. And he wasn't really close enough to do that either. So he followed you secretly. You noticed him, so you made him get lost. Eventually, you got up behind him and scared him and asked him why he was following you. He said, "I don't know, I just wanted to talk." A few months of these interactions, and you noticed that you got feelings for him. and he noticed he had feelings for you. You guys strangely felt attracted to each other, but you didn't know how the other one felt, since you were both kind of brain dead. A few months later, Todoroki couldn't keep it anymore. He really liked you, and he didn't know how to not think it. He thought about you every second of every day. So eventually, he came up to you after school and said, "Your name? We need to talk." You said, "Yes, Todoroki? What's up?" Your heart was fluttering. You didn't know how to answer or even move or say anything because you were so shy and you had such a big crush on him. So after school, you guys started walking, like you did after a few months, going back to the park. He confessed to you in the most beautiful way. He had the chair laid out with flowers and said, "I like you," with the flowers in the shape. You looked at him stunned. "What?" you said. He said, "Can you not read?" as a joke. You looked at him so surprised that he could even make a joke about that stuff. "I like you too," you said. He looked at you shocked, didn't think you were actually going to like him back. "Really?" he said. "Yes," and you hugged him. He hugged you back. A few months after dating, you guys got really, really close, and everybody figured out that you guys were dating after 2 months. You guys tried to keep it a secret as long as possible because you knew all your friends were going to bug you about it. I mean, you guys were in the same class, and you all had a friend group. You were also friends with Bakugo, but it was more like he just knew you, but he didn't not mind you. He could tolerate you more than Midoriya, though. So, yeah, that was pretty much your relationship with Bakugo. Todoroki eventually got jealous of Bakugo and said, "I don't want you hanging out with that guy." You said, "Todoroki, don't be jealous of him." And a few months after that, he knew that you were faithful. So, a few months of dating, you guys knew that you were in love. You haven't said "I loved you" yet, and neither has he. Afraid that it's still too soon to say anything like that. He came up to you one day and accidentally said that in a conversation. You looked at him stunned and asked him, did he really mean that? He shook his head yes, too embarrassed to say it out loud. You hugged him as tightly as you could and said, "I love you too." And you guys shared a passionate kiss. The end. I hope you guys like this one. I also wrote this one. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I don't really want to like, so don't. Just comment, please. I really like reading people's comments. They make me happy. Thank you.